So I'd love just to talk to you about, your past, what brought you here today. You and I met through a member at the gym, and I've been very excited, been a very happy member of the collective.
Love that.
Love the gym, and I tell everybody I know about it for sure. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's Devon Low. I've been in Austin for about a decade now. So I feel, am I crossing over that OG
You getting
line?
there? You
I
getting
came from
there? You
California
getting
though.
there?
So like, I know it's, but I feel like I'm almost becoming a local, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting there. Yeah, I came out here originally with my wife who was from here. We met in San Diego in college. And yeah, it started in tech. I had a big fitness background, but when I came out here, it was for Google.
Hmm.
Spent quite a bit of time with them. Always been passionate about fitness though. So
Hmm.
like side jobs or, creating newsletters or little side hustles around fitness, very entrepreneurial while I
Yeah.
was kind of at Google. And then Lifetime Fitness came calling and really wanted kind of leadership in like Central Texas. So, anywhere from like Dallas to Austin, it was a weird kind of region.
Hmm.
And sadly, I took out Pure Austin, those two clubs.
Yes.
That was part of my
Yes.
merger and acquisition
Yeah.
team that really, for Lifetime, that took over that. And so Collective was, funny enough, was like a part of me giving a little bit back to Austin of like, hey,
Hmm.
I know I took out the only premium gym. Let me
Yeah.
put one back in here that's local,
Yeah.
right? And
Absolutely.
so how I got here, that was a very quick 10-year run through, but Collective really was both that and then kind of an identity crisis. We're looking at
Hmm.
2021 when this idea was starting to spur a little bit,
Yeah.
the end of 2020, and I missed people. I missed, everything was remote, and I was like, how do we get the people I want to be around back in around me,
Yeah.
right? How do I reverse engineer that? Cool. I like working out. I like working, right?
Hmm.
And I want to be around people like that. And
Yep.
so,
Yeah.
obviously, Collective was born a year later and rocking and rolling.
Yeah. I remember the whole takeover of Pure. It helped me a little bit because my office is downtown, and I've been a member of Lifetime for years, and just recently canceled my membership. Stoked about that. And it's kind of funny, and one of the reasons why I did do that is because I look at the collective almost like the bar Cheers, right? You walk in, everybody knows you, or at least wants to get to know you, and that's important to me. You want to feel like you're a member of something, and just as years have gone by, even as Lifetime has grown, one of the things that annoyed me was walking around the gym and everybody's looking at the floor, they're looking at something else, but they'll be damned if they'll make eye contact with you, and they just very reserved, and no one really wanted to talk. And it doesn't mean that you're going to talk the entire time you work out, right? But there's something about friendliness, right? Individuals that are actually happy to see you come there. And that was one of the biggest differences that I noticed in the establishment. What was the one thing that you wanted to take from like a Lifetime to make something a little more exclusive? What was that one or two things that you really wanted to lean into?
Well, what's funny about that, right? So Lifetime, we were, and it was true. They like preached, we needed to build community in these different
Hmm.
departments. We even had a thing where we looked at all the new members and how we could, make their day a little better. There was no KPIs though around it. There was no behaviors. Whereas
Hmm.
Lifetime was very data driven. What a stud company! I mean, now that they're public, Brahm and that team are just crushing
Yeah.
from because they grade everything. Mike,
Hmm.
I'm talking like cafe tours, like how much time you spend in the cafe on
Wow.
tour to do that. But they never graded community, right?
Hmm.
They never graded interaction between members. They said it. They said, hey, this would be great. They know the return, and that was always something I was really good at.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things I took away from Lifetime is, and my team knows this now, and anybody like that listens to this is going to be like, God, here goes Devin again. I really believe in this Harvard Business Review called the church method,
Okay.
right? And it basically states that if you're why churches are so good at like creating that,
Hmm.
if you can introduce one member of the church to another member of the church, if you're a new member and you get to meet an existing member, you're 80% less likely to leave.
Huh. It's
And
very interesting.
and I took that into business, and like anytime somebody new would join the collective, I just wanted to learn a little bit of the anecdotes about them. Sure, we
Hmm.
have the application process, so I get to learn that. But ultimately, like, great, Mike, you build custom homes, you do this thing, but like, who are you? And
Hmm.
getting that like information, and then I go, man, you need to meet Khalil, or you need to meet Brad, or you need to meet Simon, or whoever it might be.
Yep.
If you form a relationship, my hypothesis with this company is that like you won't leave us, right? The cost of being open for a gym means sometimes we're going to be dirty. We're not going to have a cleaning person right after you go to the bathroom. And if you happen to miss, God forbid,
Yeah.
and someone comes in behind you and they go, man, this place is dirty, right? Even if it was like, we're never going to be able to be perfect on that. And so knowing that, we have to have these little wins of reasons why, man, I'm never leaving Kollective.
Exactly.
My friends are here. My
Yeah.
people are here. My community here. And that's what keeps you more than anything. And so that was something I learned from Lifetime, because they preached it a lot,
Yeah.
but we never had like KPIs around it. So now my team, when they sign somebody up, and I signed up, Jeremy and I signed up the first 200 members, and now we're, above 800, right?
Yeah.
And so now I go, cool, who'd they meet?
Yep.
Who are you going to introduce them to?
Yep.
Like, how are you going to add something that they had no idea that they were getting? They're like, I'm joining a gym, and I got a friend.
Yep.
And I had no idea about that, right? And so we actually have like KPI like drivers towards connecting them to somebody else in the space.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a huge piece for us.
No, absolutely. I've always thought that relationships around business are what makes business successful at the end of the day. I have clients that I built houses for 15, 20 years ago that I still have relationships with. And everything is based on relationship, because nothing can say more about your business than a referral. You can pay for ads, you can pay for, Instagram things, all sorts of stuff, but nothing's going to come across like it does as a personal referral. And so relationships are huge. So to see that in a gym atmosphere is huge. But I feel like I'm downplaying what this is. This isn't just a gym, and what you've created is phenomenal. What else do you guys offer other than just a place to work out?
We think about it in the way that how can we keep you there and like optimize your life, not just your health, right? We're going to do that great. So how can I optimize your life? We have a state-of-the-art facility, which we talked about, all the gym equipment you can imagine, classes, your standard gym side of the house, right? And then we have a whole recovery suite. So, cold plunge, saunas, compression, all those different things. Another piece of the health that makes us a little different is we have a full-fledged medical practice inside of our facility.
What do you mean by that?
We mean that, all the way from the basics of blood work up to concierge medicine and everything in between. So, we do hormone therapy, peptide therapy, we do concierge medicine, transformation, women's hormones, you name it. As long as we can kind of diagnose it and make a recommendation, we're going to do that, right? Now, we're not going to perform surgery and stuff. We refer a lot of things out. But if you're somebody that's looking to like optimize and have objective measures to go after, the only true way to do that is like understanding your biology.
100%.
And so once we brought that in, that was a huge kind of multiplier for us. And I think to your point of like the people that followed, they were all people that wanted to like optimize and be successful in their own way. And that just created this community of I would call them killers, right?
Yeah,
There's
they're
some
beasts.
There's some
They're
killers
beasts.
in there in business and in the professional sports world,
Yep.
and you name it. I mean, it's fun to be around. So
Well, and it's a community that you want to aspire to be better. And that's what I love about it as well. I leave there with the knowledge and with the intent and to be better, right? Whether it's physically, mentally, from a business standpoint, things of that nature. That's what I love about it as well. But to even go back to your peptide comment, I've been taking peptides roughly 6 months or so. And to find true information on it is almost impossible. Granted, you can Google anything you want, but just because it's on the internet doesn't mean that it's the truth, right? And to have somebody that can help you walk through those things, dependent on your goals and your needs, is huge. And especially to have that under one roof is insane. So I'm stoked about that as a member and want to get involved in that deeply.
we think about it as like your care team, right? So anything you would do previous to Kollective, it would be fractured. You would go to your doctor, then you would go maybe to your trainer, and then you would go to your, holistic medicine person, and then you would go to your massage therapist, right? It was all fractured. We think of our care team as like that whole group communicates with one another. So your MD, your nurse practitioner, whoever's like building protocol for you, is going to chat with your trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not just a one size fits all. It's not just this one thing you do. We go, hey, Mike, what's your goal?
Yep.
Great. There's this peptide that might help you with that. But also, you know, if you're trying to put on lean body mass, we're gonna diagnose it and like look at you on a screen. We literally do this once a week where, hey, this is Mike, this is his goals. And then the trainer and the nurse practitioner communicate on a solution that's going to be best for you. That's the only place that that's happening in the country, right? Because normally that's happening in a medical practice, happening in an office, and then you're trying to transfer that information, or sometimes maybe they can email that, but they're not like working together on a solution. Yep. And so that's what's special.
Yeah.
Really.
And truth be told, how many times, if you're trying to do this on your own with all of those practitioners that are separate, how many times does something get lost in translation? You never know, right? How do you measure that? And to have that under one roof, I would think that the goals that you're looking to achieve can be achieved faster because of clear-cut communication.
I mean that's our hypothesis, right? Like that's what we believe. And to your point, like it's a lot. Even our stuff's a lot. Like when you get the blood work back and when we do a comprehensive panel, like there's a lot of information that comes back. It could be overwhelming. There's always there's always something that's like, oh my goodness, what's going on with my hemoglobin 1? You know what I mean? There's always something that's going to be a little off. Having that information that goes right to your coach or right to the person else that you're working with, and then having a conversation about it, because it's not just the number, it's also the behaviors and the goals, and that's what gets lost in translation. Yeah. If you were to try to do that on your own, you would bring it to your coach and you would kind of play the game of telephone, like, well, she said this was okay, and I guess we can worry about this and whatever, right? You wouldn't, they wouldn't get the full story. And so we try to eliminate that. And ultimately we try to eliminate it and we try to make it super accessible for you to accomplish your goal, right? That's the whole meaning of it.
And to have it all under one roof. You know, something that you have not mentioned yet is a co-working space. And something that's huge for me is I don't have to worry about if I'm in the gym and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, but I've got an 8:30 call. I know that I can pause, go somewhere else, take that phone call, and go back to my workout. I've never been able to do that, ever. And so what that does for me is it frees more time up. Because as an entrepreneur and doing what I do, I don't know where I'm going to be at the end of every day or during the day. You know, I live by my calendar, but that rarely sticks just because you're dealing with clients and buildings and, you know, city inspectors, stuff like that. My day constantly changes. But if I know that I can do things at the same time while I'm working out and while I'm trying to become better, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of that like reverse engineering of like getting what type of person we wanted to be around. That's what Jeremy and I's original thought was like, I think we wanted the person, and this was totally by like luck, right? A lot of people told us the co-working was a bad idea because you've been up there. It's not like, it doesn't have the Kollective brand. I mean, it is very much like functional co-working. It's not a lounge. It's not this cool. I mean, it's nice, but it's not like what you would see in our gym. It's very functional. It is hot desk. It is phone booths. It is people working, right? Yeah. Like that is it, right?
Absolutely.
And we wanted people to like see that, see the recovery, see the gym, see the medical practice and go, oh my goodness, this is my spot. Because we assumed that person was like doing cool shit in their life or doing big stuff because they were like, oh my goodness, this could optimize so much of my schedule and my time to allow me to do other things. And we think that we want to be around those type of people.
100%. Right? And to that point, that also breeds intrigue. If you see someone working, curiosity, you know, is going to come over you and you're going to be like, I wonder what they're doing. And you're going to introduce yourself. You're going to talk to them, you know, and that's what I see that it's brought. You know, the collective, I have what I think your answer may be, but why did you name it the collective?
I mean, so it's twofold, right? So Jeremy, my co-founder, was going through like he was getting his MBA. He was taking a marketing class, and I got to give him credit. I like to try to take full credit, but there's a piece of it that's Jeremy's where he was like, hey, K is a strong thing. And I will tell you some of the names we started with, I don't even want to say them on here. They're just like not good. It's almost embarrassing. But then we were really like, what are we trying to do here? We knew we were like before the building was built, the idea was gym, co-working, recovery, medical practice, right? Like we're basically we're four walls that house like kind of the inspiration or the people to like live their lives to the fullest, right? And so it was the group, it was the community, it was the all of the people, it was all of us, it was the collective, right? And then we just put the K on the front because Jeremy's MBA teacher told him that was a good idea to have a K for a brand, and
it's working. And it's working. You know, it's working well.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it. Is it's a collective of great people, of great relationships, of great products, of great services, and it keeps growing. And that's what's exciting. You know, the things that can be coming and the things that may be coming down the road for you. What are some of the things that you're excited about in the next year, 2 years even?
I mean, obviously the expansion of offerings and services. So medical has been kind of a year in the make, 6 months to a year. We've been beta testing it for about a year. We're almost ready to roll it out. You know, it's a big deal. You got to get a lot of legal stuff. There's just a lot of red tape when it comes to medical.
Yeah.
So obviously expanding those offerings is huge. The next big jump will be getting into new markets, right? And we're excited about the potential new market that we've, you know, I can't really say quite yet.
Yep.
But I think a lot of people can assume, and there's been a lot of talk in the community, and once something leaks out into the collective, as you know, it just spreads like wildfire. Yeah. But as we expand, seeing how this translates in other markets is going to be kind of a big, you know, information grab for us, right?
Yeah.
We're really going to learn what we're good at and what we're not. And I think that's really exciting to get back in the seat. If we take a step back, like, you know, like Kollective now is this cool thing. It's got this vibe. We got celebrity clients, professional athletes. But when we first started, like we were like nobody. Everyone thought we were crazy, right? Because it was coming right off of COVID, and it was all about like connected fitness, and nobody was going back to the gyms, and like everybody thought it was like a bad idea. Yeah. And so like I got to give a lot of credit to like those first few coaches, right? Yeah. Like I think about that a lot, and I've done some interviews recently, and I just don't think they get the credit they should, because like we have some big name coaches, Eric, Kelly, Tim, Ryan, like the people that were with us in the beginning when we were like not shit, right? And they believed in us. I mean, granted, we sold our we're like, please trust us, this is going to be a thing, right? But I don't think they get enough credit just because, I mean, they weren't making the money they were making before, but they believed in kind of what we were trying to do. Yep. And they're a huge part of our brand. Yeah. And so from a people aspect, I'm excited for that new group. It's almost like the new class gets to come in, because we've had, it's been the OGs for a long time kind of doing our thing. I'm excited to share the brand with like the new class and teach them our ways, and you know, get involved with them and what they're interested in. So that's really exciting for me.
That's one of the things I'm glad you brought up, is the trainers that you have
elite
are ungodly. I mean, it's funny, Khalil actually got me to join the collective and was in my eye like hot pepper for a while, and totally glad I did. My first training session was with Rain, you know, and that man is a beast, you know, and it was kind of funny, you know. Khalil thought it was going to be hilarious. You're not going to be able to walk for days. He's going to kill you. And Rain, I had expressed that to him, and he goes, yeah, idiots can make you hurt. I'm here to help you and help your performance. And I was like, wow. But even to see him, to see Sandy, to see Kelly, you know, Ben, Cass, everybody that's in there is phenomenal. And they all have their expertise even, you know.
They are our brand, right? Like I've always been, you know, Jeremy and I have always known that we were going to be coach first, right? We want to give them the opportunity to make more money here than they ever would, right? Yeah. So we're aggressive with our splits in their favor, because we know they're such a big part of the ethos of the club. Yes. They're kind of the celebrities. You talk about Ben and Cass. They came over from Equinox and just immediately stepped in as like, I mean, just true studs, like just ballers immediately. And it's hard to step into collective. There's an intimidating piece of being a new coach in that space. I bet. But like someone like those two, they came in, were like, no, we're the best. Yep. And I've said this in many trainer meetings, and it's very true and it's very authentic. But I've literally said to all my coaches, if you don't think you're the baddest motherfucking coach in this building, you're probably not in the right place, because you want that confidence in them. And they all have that. And if you don't, you will get snuffed out by them, because they Sandy, Eric, Rain, you know,
But they're beasts.
like they expect you to be good because you're
Yeah.
part of their brand. Wait,
Yep.
you're a trainer in Collective and I'm a trainer in Collective. You
Yep.
better step your game up
Yep.
right now. You
Yep.
know what I mean? So I love that.
Yeah, and no disrespect to any trainers outside of there. However, there's a big difference. There's a huge difference in trainers from there, in Lifetime, and things like that. And I noticed that right out of the gate. You know, and to your point, that's not necessarily your bread and butter, but that's part of your brand. That's what's so huge about it. You know, and you would think it'd be intimidating, but it's not because they're very welcoming.
Yes.
Very welcoming, which I thought is phenomenal.
Well, coaching's changing. Like there's great coaches out there that can perform like the science, the programming, all those things. There's amazing coaches out there that could step into Collective and be just as educated or just as good on that side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
We treat them like talent.
Yep.
Like if you're going to step in, you kind of have to have a big personality. You're dealing with celebrity clients. You're dealing with,
Yeah.
you know, people that could be a little hard to deal with sometimes.
Yeah.
So you need to match that energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think, you know, I got to give a lot of, you know, for Eric. I don't know if you've got to spend a lot of time with Eric.
I haven't, but I've seen some of his stuff lately.
My little 5'7", 5'8" Italian
Yeah.
stallion is got all the confidence in the world,
Yeah.
right? And he is such a huge part of the brand because his expectations for himself and his clients is just high, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's just incredible with that, and that is very much like our brand, right? You can't you can't just be a good coach. You got to be a good person.
Exactly.
You got to be fun to be around,
Yep.
and you got to be engaging and entertaining and enjoyable,
Yeah.
right? And so that's a standard for us.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too. You know, each one of these trainers has their own social media and things like that, and you actually realize they're human. Like you see these guys, and they're specimens, you know, but they're human. It's kind of funny. Sandy's doing a thing now, I guess, of trying to do the splits in 30 days.
Yes.
So in seeing that, you know, you look at that and you go, she's human, right? And everybody's not perfect at everything. And to see that from day one to whenever she ends up is pretty remarkable, I think.
And she's going to do it, even though
she's
it's,
gonna.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, starting from zero basically.
Yeah.
But she's determined.
But it's good to see that. It's good to see that, you know, and including everybody in there. No one's perfect, you know, but as a collective, you're there to be made better. Exactly. And that's what's tremendous. So I really appreciate you taking the time with me. It was great to learn a little bit more about you and the collective. And here's to the future, my friend, in Liquid Death too. Thank you guys.